Welcome back. We are again Alyssa and Emily of Revolt Hair Studio. And today, Emily is going to be sharing with us some information about box hair color. So, this might be a good topic to tune into, as I know that there's a decent amount of people who are purchasing box color for the time being while we're all stuck in our houses with nothing better to do but coloring your own hair.
Yeah.
So, Emily, tell us a little bit about box color.
I think the biggest thing, well, I'm sure everybody, the more you're hearing about box color coming out, the more people are hearing, like, don't use it. And so I wanted to go over a little bit, like, why you shouldn't use it. And I do have a couple guests that do use it, and I feel like it works for them. So I'll go over that too. So not that it's this horrible, terrible thing, but it could cause, um, it could cause it a little bit more difficult to maintain your color in the long run. And depending on what you're doing, it could also be an immediate, like, oh boy, what happened here?
Yes.
So the first thing that I think is really important when coloring your own hair is keeping in mind that you are working with chemicals. So it's definitely something that you want to have a knowledge about. I think that's the scariest thing about box color is that, well, first of all, they formulate it for anybody's hair. So whether your hair is like super fine and really brittle, it still is using the same amount of ammonia or oxidizer as somebody with super coarse hair. So in the salon, somebody with really fine, thin hair, we would use something a lot gentler because we don't need a lot of strength to open up your hair's cuticle, whereas somebody with thicker hair can handle that higher volume. So box color is always going to be more damaging on your hair because they're using that highest amount of an oxidizer to get that color to work.
Would you say
Um,
that they're using like 30 volume in there? Or I honestly have no idea, but
yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I haven't used box color in so long. So I really like, I don't even remember what it smelled like, but I'm sure it's pretty strong. So I would say probably at least 20 or 30 volume, but I would say more like 30. Um, which is higher than most people need.
yeah, unless you're lightning, I don't use 30 for color.
Right. Yeah, even sometimes for color, we use like the lowest volume, which is like 10, 7, depending on the line. Um, Yeah, so that's one big thing. Another thing is when you come into the salon, we formulate that color specifically for your hair type. So I'm not sure if any of you may have had a stylist bring like a booklet out with a bunch of colors and then you like look at your swatches. Oh, I hope I didn't cut out. My Bixby thing just went off.
I hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay. All right. Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my button is right here and my phone slides down. But anyway, so when you come into the salon, we don't ever just pick one of those colors and slap it right on your head. That's more just to get an idea of the colors that people do like or don't like. So when we're doing your hair in the salon, we're considering what color is already on your hair. And then we're mixing color for when it mixes and oxidizes with your existing hair color, it creates that desired result. So when you're using box color, you're not really getting any of that. So that makes it very unpredictable. So if I would pick up, for example, like a box of red or something, and I put it on my hair, and then we put it on Alyssa's hair, the results would be totally different. And I know that they do have like a somewhat guideline of like light, medium, dark hair and what it's going to look like. But that's also formulated for like never been colored ever hair, like virgin hair. So when you go and you put box color over hair that's already been colored, hoping to change your whole result, like going from dark black to maybe a lighter brown or even blonde, what's going to happen is the color that's on your root that hasn't been colored ever is going to lift really nicely and a little bit cleaner. And then the color on your ends, if there's already box color on there or even salon color, it's not going to budge because you can't get that lift through just a depositing process. So you would need to do. I'm trying not to get too complicated with it, but there's a whole chemical process behind it, and if you don't understand the chemistry behind that, then you can end up with a whole mess on your hands. So kind of coming back to me having a couple guests that do use box color, I feel like their color does always look good, but there's a reason why it works for them. So I'm thinking of a particular client in my head, and I don't want to name names, just to keep it confidential. I mean, I don't think she would mind, but
I think I know who it is because I like her
yeah,
color too.
yeah, I love it. It's so pretty. So it's like a violety red, but it works for her because she has really short hair, like pixie short, comes in every 4 weeks for a haircut, and usually feels like it's way too long by then. And also is naturally gray. So she's doing the box color to cover up that gray. So she already has a little bit of lightness to work with. So she gets that nice, vibrant red color. But she doesn't end up with bands, or like with box color, a lot of times what can happen is if you put it all over your head, you end up either getting bands of different colors or you get super dark on the bottom because it has a slightly different chemical composition. So every time you put that color over, it redarkens those ends to kind of simplify it. Did you
So
have to add?
box color is a progressive dye, whereas professional hair color is an oxidative dye, meaning if you have a level 5, which is medium brown, and you do professional 5 over 5 over 5 over 5, it will never get any darker because it oxidizes to that level or to that color. But with a progressive dye, one can assume from the name, it progressively gets darker, whether you're leaving it on for X amount of time, pulling it through to the ends and leaving that set for the whole entire time, or even just overlapping onto the hair that's been previously colored. That progression, and that's where you're going to get those bands from, or those ends. Like, there was a time in beauty school, one of our girls, she had highlights in her hair. Then she decided she was going to color it herself at home with box, which I don't know why you would do that if you're in beauty school, but she did. And she colored it with a box to do everything blonde. And her ends, I'm not even kidding you, turned black.
Oh my gosh, that's
Black.
like worst nightmare.
She had to cut her hair all off because there's no way, because
Yeah,
you had highlights. You can't go in there and take that out then.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like box color is also super unpredictable when it comes to lightening it out. So if you want to remove that color and get back to what you had before, sometimes it is possible, and I've lightened people very slowly just to keep their hair healthy. But also, like, you never know how that's going to react. Sometimes it's really stubborn and that color just doesn't budge at all.
Yeah, or then like I think Brandy and I were talking a while ago with one of our other podcasts, you could have metallic salts in there. So
Right.
that causes an extreme chemical reaction when you have lightener and metallic salts. So not only do you run the risk of injuring your guest because it's a chemical reaction, and if it's in a foil that's folded, where is it going to go? Out to the scalp. So you can deal with a chemical burn on your head because of it. Your hair can quite literally melt and fall off because of it.
And
So like it's not a game. Like, you don't want to
no,
play.
no, yeah, it's scary stuff. Like it's chemicals that you're working with. So you do have to be careful. And even though they market it as something that like anybody can use, sure you can, but there's a lot more to it that they're not really going over.
Well, and especially too when they're formulating that box for levels 4 through 8. Like, that's 4 different levels, so you would need at least 40 volume to go from one end to the other. So,
Right.
the amount of developer that is most likely ammonia based is really going to cause some heavy damage to the hair itself.
Right, right. I agree. Yeah, and I was doing a little bit of research too, and I know that they're coming out with a lot more ammonia-free at-home colors. Um, and while it sounds like it could be safer, you still have to be careful with the ingredients that are in that. A lot of times they replace it with something like ethanolamine or something that's equally as damaging as ammonia. So it still can be quite a harsh process on the hair.
Good vocabulary word, by the way. I
Yeah.
couldn't pronounce that. So, what is your recommendation for people? I mean, obviously, we want to be able to provide what's best for everybody, and we
Right.
don't want to shun you. We don't want to yell at you.
No.
we want to be there for you when we're able to be back in the salon, whether you've taken care of your color at home in the meantime or not. But like, what if you had to recommend something for someone, what would you suggest in the meantime while we're all waiting to get back into public?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first, I just want to start off by saying that I will never shame anybody who comes in with box color on their hair. I get it. Like I'm kind of trying to pull through and not put more color on my hair, but it's more just, me being here for you guys. I just want to educate and let you know what's best for your hair because I really do care about the health of everybody's hair. So with that being said, if you already did box color and we have to fix it, then so be it. Or maybe it looks great. I mean, you never know. But that's the thing. You never know. So it's just more predictable to use a professional color. So with that being said, there are a couple of things that you can do to avoid the box color, but still get yourself through until the salons are opening back up. So one thing that has become a little bit more popular is like a temporary color. So this is something that would wash out once you shampoo. So it's a little bit different than like a semi-permanent, which is like the yellow that I have in my hair. That it only lasts for one shampoo, but they have them. I'm not sure exactly where you would get them right now. Alyssa, if you have some recommendations, I was thinking like the little like mascara wands that are just a temporary color that help cover up your root. I know before Sally's sold it.
Yeah, the gray free ones. So if I don't know that Sally's is open, if you can order online
Yeah,
on Sally's, then
right, that's
that
true.
might work. And I think also Amazon would probably have them gray free, so GREYFREE, and they do. They look like a little tube with a mascara wand, and then you would just paint it on. And I know if you can find Color Wow, they have like a powder that you can brush
Yeah.
on. If your hair is dark enough, you can use mascara.
Yeah, or even I've seen people using eyeshadow before, which I thought was kind of clever.
Hmm.
So if you have like a conference call and you don't want to shell out some extra money, just take out your eyeshadow. Maybe try it before your call though, just to
Yeah.
make sure it looks good.
If you have a craft box with a bunch of glitter, just spray hairspray in your
Yeah,
hand and sprinkle glitter
get
on
creative.
it.
I even saw people taking feathers, and you know how, oh, something fell. You know how Billie Eilish has like her neon green roots? Oh, hold
Yes.
on a second. I'm sorry, my cords are all
Jumbled up.
crazy. Yeah. All right. I think technical difficulties. Okay.
Just blame it on the cat. The cat knocked it over. I don't know what happened.
She's sleeping on the bed back there. um, where was I? What was I saying?
Billie Eilish and feathers.
Yeah, yeah. So she has like the neon green root, and I saw a video. I think it was on Modern Salon or something, and they took a feather and then just kind of like combed it in and sprayed it, and it looked like they had like these fun roots. It was cool. So you could even maybe do that with a black feather and see if it looks like
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, get creative. But another thing that I was thinking of is actually using a semi-permanent like what I have. So something that you could get online, and what I've used before, I feel like their ingredients are a little bit cleaner. I never have tried to lighten the amount of hair, so I'm not sure how well that would work. But it's called Overtone. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh, you like the color conditioners and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
it's a conditioner, and that makes it really easy to apply as well. So something like that sits on the outside of your hair's cuticle instead of going into your hair's cuticle. So it's a lot easier to remove, and it gently washes out over. I would say it depends on how often you wash your hair. I would say with something like that, probably like 3 to 5 shampoos.
That's great. Good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, yeah. And I know now they came out with a bunch of natural colors too, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
even if you have like funky color hair, you have blonde hair and you want to have some fun with it, that's also another thing that can hold you over until salons get back open.
absolutely. And I think too, like maybe some sort of like scarf or a headband or,
Yeah.
anything like that to just kind of like play around with it. Like obviously it's not for everybody or they might not have a scarf or something, but at least it's something different that, maybe takes away from the root situation.
Yeah. And you might like it and keep it as your thing.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Emily, is there anything else about box color that you wanted to make sure that we knew about?
Um, I think I covered most of it. I don't think there was anything else I had to add.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending your
Of course.
Saturday afternoon with us here. And we miss you. We miss
Oh,
everyone
miss you too. I
in
know.
the
I can't wait till we're back in the salon, but it will come eventually.
a 6 foot long hug, 6 feet
Yeah.
away. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.